Said on the briefing call that you would explain Indian economics with the help of a pressure cooker.
Pressure cooker is a good example of something it's a technology we use a lot more in India than in most of the world. It's really, and Indians have adopted this technology, even though it's actually a very interesting technology. It's the fact that pressure raises the boiling point and therefore it allows things to cook much faster, is an idea that has been around for a while. But still, if you look in a regular US household, they wouldn't have a pressure cooker till 20 years ago when in some sense the Instapot, which is actually a pressure cooker, was introduced. But even then, that wasn't, Instapot went out of business actually. It's not vastly popular.
Yeah.
And it has something to do with two things. One is our lifestyle, that we make slow-cooked, what were traditionally slow-cooked, like dal, and we need to melt things, which is relatively unusual in the US or in Germany or something. The second thing is that we are poor, and we are especially we are an energy poor country. We are always conscious of the fact that energy prices, we are very sensitive to global energy prices. So we are always going to be, worrying about, can I afford to cook this dal, but it's going to be, this chana will take a long time to boil. So should I do it? And what a pressure cooker does is it makes that much more energy efficient. So it goes the pressure cooker is a very good example of where preferences and the market interact to define a particular style of cooking, which is very Indian. In Indian, you read a recipe, they'll always say, you put it in the pressure cooker, you wait till three whistles, and then you're done.
Yeah.
You try finding that in a Chinese recipe or a Spanish recipe. It just doesn't exist. So it is very much that the fact that that's there is a very interesting interaction of energy prices, poverty, and taste.
Yeah. But so pressure cooker became popular just because of energy efficiency in the country.
We used to have something called economic cooker before the pressure cooker, which was I'm actually not old enough to have used one or seen one. But I think there was a prior thing where they would at least cook, and I've seen that as a child. I saw that when you cook rice, you put in a little dabba inside the rice, you put some sabzi, so that when the rice cooks, the same heat cooks the sabzi. And so that idea is, I think the economic cooker basically was a way of using that structure. So there's all this thinking about how to economize on energy. And this has been a while. I mean, I'm saying last 100 years, economic cooker goes back to the 1930s or something. So I think these things were, economic comes from economic, by the way. It's exactly this idea that it was an economic way to cook.
And what these things has to do with economics?
So one of the
samosa, laddu, chips,
and mithai. So one idea that I think is very prevalent, even in our policy conversations in India, I mostly say unfortunately, is being judgmental about the poor. And you hear this a lot. You say that, she has no money, but she's always eating samosas or something, or having chai, and I always thought that's backwards. That in some sense, because we have such fulfilling lives, we are able to. It's much easier to resist temptations when you have fulfilled lives. It's easy to be disciplined when I know that I'm getting lots of rewards. When you think your life is a bit dreary, you clean people's dishes, some pleasure there has to be some space for pleasure. Otherwise, life isn't worth living. And so I think fundamentally these chips, why are chips popular? Chips popular because, they're very easy to transport. They're available. If you go to a village in rural Udaipur district, okay, which is, once you get out of Udaipur and you go 50 kilometers, you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I spend lots of time in those places. And in those villages, you'll get Parle G and you'll get a bag of chips. These are durable. So they're things that are easy to, they provide a certain amount of quick satisfaction. They're cheap to transport, so cheap, therefore they stay cheap. If you try to provide this burfi there, that would be much more expensive. But burfis don't travel well. So there's a logic to why these things are available, which is for poor people, they want something a little bit different. They eat, whatever, makai ke roti and some sabzi, and it gets tedious. And especially children, I think it's the children often say, this is I had that every day. So mother then says, or father then says, chalo, I'll get you a bag of chips. I think those are very important for survival. So, if you don't, and in that sense, I am very much against being judgmental about what poor people do. I think they have a hard enough life without us criticizing them.
True. So they usually consume more chips and more samosas because of indulgent pleasure?
I think not more, because of course we can afford anything, but for them it's very much more important.
And it's like a short escape for them?
Yes.
And what's with laddu and mithai?
Well, the same. Laddu and mithai, I'm just saying.
But it's much more expensive.
It's much more expensive, so it's much bigger treat. They might actually give it to the god. Say, you'll buy one mithai and you give it to the god, and then you share it among your family. Then you have done some, so you got some punya and you also got some mithai.
Thank you so much for watching this video till the end. If you'd like to watch more informational and educational clips, please subscribe to Raj Shamani Clips channel and share this video with someone who you think would like to learn more.